we need a premium account on Twitter to broadcast to their platform. How rude.
Yeah.
I,
X making all kinds of changes over there.
yeah, just whatever. Screw them. I mean, let's talk about branding for just a second. Just for grins. How jacked up is it that you buy something for however many gajillions of bucks,
I think it was like
change
40 billion or something.
it was a lot. Let's just say that if you and I'd had 1/10 of that money when we were
Oh my
gonna
god.
gonna hang out together, it'd be like, hey Stu, I'm sending the chopper up to Annapolis so you can come down and we can work out. It's like an hour flight, you know. We'll send Chair Force One. And
Mm.
you come down and we'll play like, football or something and work out and then we'll have lunch and then I'll have it fly you home. Okay, man.
So 40 billion, what'd that get them?
It got him a site with a single letter and then everybody still calls it Twitter. So it's like on X, formerly Twitter. I
Yeah.
mean, come
I
on, man.
Yeah, they don't call them X's, they call them tweets.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's just holy crap a moly, man. I mean that kills me
Mm.
every time, but God bless them, whatever. So Stu,
Yes.
it's been an interesting couple 3 weeks. Uh,
Yes.
but it's also put a lot of things in perspective. Um, for those of you that don't know, my dad went to heaven last Thursday, and we're kind of in the middle of all the family stuff with that. Um, so it kind of that kind of stuff puts things into perspective.
Man, does it.
What's important, what's not, who's on your team, who's leaning on other people and other things like that. So it's just, but life goes on. The other interesting thing, and I didn't have any intention of talking about this, but
I know.
the interesting thing though is that what we mean by life going on is that you make the most of it while you're here, because the next day the world's going to keep on going. I mean, it's weird. So
It is really weird. It's really weird when you see the loss, but then, you know, it's another day.
I know.
And it's tough, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah. But anyway, so this month we're kind of wrapping up. This month was all about offers. Next month is going to be about offers and you and profiles and stuff like that. But I've been going back to successful offers that we've done in the past and things, and like, what was your original offer, Stu? Like the original Stu offer, that when you walked out from active service, you walked out with, your rugged good looks and a book.
Yep, I had a book that was kind of like the intro to the offer. Then I created a website and I immediately started doing online coaching.
Can you do me a favor and just take your mic just down just a
Sorry.
little bit? Yeah, yeah, much better, much
Is
better,
that
much
better?
better.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I feel like you're my wife giving me instructions when I'm not
Yelling
listening
at you.
very well, you know.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. So you had a website, you had a book.
And immediately started doing online coaching. So that was kind of the net I use, and then I started writing articles, right? And the articles were put on what we have back then, forums.
Yeah, forums. Yeah, I thought those were just in dirty magazines.
Yeah, what were maybe a newsletter or something. People were
Yeah.
excited to get an email back in those days.
But you had the book for credibility,
Yeah,
you had the coaching for money,
yeah,
and you had the article writing to show that you're current and to create value, to stay in touch with people until they were ready to buy the book and or sign up for coaching. I mean, that was pretty much
yes,
it, right?
yes.
Isn't it funny now today? That's still how you do it. That's.
That's a good point.
Did you ever do any interviews with anybody, Stu, back in the day before webinars and stuff?
No, I went into just writing articles and answering emails and turning them into articles.
Okay. Did you
So
ever did you you know what we called webinars when it was only by phone, right? You remember what those were called?
no.
Teleseminars.
Oh,
You remember everybody was doing teleseminars back in the
I
day.
was not. I was not into that. I didn't have
Dude,
that bandwidth to be able to pull that one off in my day.
you know, it's funny. You think about technology and just stuff that we're doing now compared to, quarter century ago ish. I remember when I thought here's how you do a teleseminar, Stu. You call a phone number
Oh
and you
yeah.
put in a pin and you talk. And other people who don't have the same pin as you put in their pin and they can listen. And I remember thinking that that was complicated.
Yeah.
Like the first time I was so like nervous to even try and set up a teleseminar. And it was kind of expensive and some other stuff, but the bottom line is once we got it figured out, it was like old hats, like anything, once you do it once. But the bottom line is we used to do podcasts, we called them teleseminars.
Hmm.
And they could record the teleseminar, holy crap, and then download it as an MP3. Oh my God, that's amazing. All this devilry at work. And I knew a guy who would do teleseminars, and his upsell was that he would send you a cassette recording of the teleseminar. And he was crushing it. And I saw his setup. He had this bank of eight, it was this machine that you loaded 8 blank cassette tapes into, and it would record the front and the back at the same time. So
Damn.
at like super high speed. So he could dub eight, however many long, 45 minutes on each side, 30, he always tried to keep it to an hour. So it was 30 and 30.
Mm.
And he could dub those super quick. I mean, he was selling hundreds of these things and then would package them up. And then he'd have, you could buy a library of a collection of them. It was a great business. But at the heart of it was doing an interview. That's all his stuff was interview. He would interview himself or he would have other people. I mean, literally it was like, okay, first question, blah, blah, blah. Next question, blah, 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 blah. And he was interviewing himself or he'd have other people interview or he'd bring other people on to interview. He was crushing it. Okay.
Hmm.
So with mini site creators, she talked about was my first really big multi-million dollar offer back 2003, 2004. Most people still didn't have high-speed internet. We weren't doing webinars. Webinars didn't really come out till 2006-ish, and that was still bleeding edge. And so one of the ways that we sold, now get this, dude, I'm selling a course, a video course, multiple CDs with tons and tons of videos on it. I'm using an audio teleseminar to sell a video course. Think about that for a second.
Dang.
And sold millions of them. Literally would tell people, hey, get out a piece of paper, draw this picture, write this on. I mean, I'm making them make their own visual aids because God forbid I would give them a PDF.
Huh.
But my point is that was an interview. And we did an audio interview to sell a video course. Then all of a sudden, webinars came. And all those lessons of interviewing somebody, giving people information, building value, doing all that stuff, all went out the wayside. And everybody's got to get all complicated and crazy and fancy and everything with the webinar.
Hmm.
All those lessons from the teleseminars and the interviews and stuff are gone. So now the wheel has been reinvented. And there's a reason why I'm talking about this. It's been reinvented now. And one of the secret sales tools that people are using is a sales presentation disguised as a podcast.
Hmm.
That's the big fancy thing there.
I can
It's a
see that.
it's a freaking interview, Stu.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
it's two guys, two gals, or a guy and a gal, or they, them, whoever, getting on, asking and answering questions, building credibility, building excitement, and then making an offer.
Hmm.
Holy crap, we've reinvented 1998.
Nothing has changed.
It really hasn't.
Just the technology behind it. Yeah, I
And,
look
and
back, Jim. What I'm doing now is I either have someone on a podcast with me, and
Mhm.
we kick it back and forth, answering questions, asking questions to each other, or I'm on myself sharing a topic and then taking live questions and answering those. But yes, ending with go check out StuSmithFitness.com and
right.
placing that little offer on the back end side of it.
And the degree to which you want to do the sales really comes down to the type of invitation you make at the end of the interview. So if you're trying to get them to go check out a book, it's pretty straightforward. Hey, by the way, I wrote a book on this topic. It's a number one bestseller. You can grab a copy of it over here. All the way to, hey, got a special offer for you. Here's a little stack. But the thing is, the stack that you have to do on an interview, the funny thing is with an interview, when they know you, like you, trust you, and they're like, oh, I just, I want it. It's like the book thing. It's like, oh shit, does this guy have a book? Let me just go check it out. Oh, he's got a book. Oh, they're like waiting for you to tell the title of the book so they can run over to Amazon, buy the book, have it delivered, and never read it.
Mm.
Have it just stack up with the rest of the stuff in the smallest room in the house, reading room. I need to
Yeah,
get
the self help cabinet.
exactly. And the same thing is, does this dude have a course? Is it because what happens when you do an interview is that you develop rapport faster. It doesn't feel like a sales pitch. It's getting down to it gets down to the nitty gritty faster. And I think now with webinars, people are feeling like it's just, they're just going to sell me something, especially in a lot of circles now. They're like, oh, I guess I'll stick around till the pitch. Oh, has the pitch started? Yeah, okay, let's go to Ruby Tuesdays or whatever we're doing, depending on what time the thing is, or
Mm.
is there a replay, that kind of thing. um Whereas with an interview, it feels more organic, it feels more genuine. People are just used to and have always been used to consuming that, from the nightly news to radio interviews to all that good stuff. Just people are conditioned to that. I mean, challenge me on this, Stu. Am I right? Am I wrong? What
Oh
are your
no,
thoughts on this?
you're exactly right. I have gone to a few webinars and I listen to a lot of podcasts now, mainly because they're just easier to listen to. I can listen to them in my car now. Um, so whatever you want to call them, sometimes they're entertainment, sometimes it's just information, and yes, sometimes there is a sale at the end of it, but that's
Right.
okay. That's okay.
What do
There's
you think makes a good interview? And I'm asking this to everybody now who's here with us live in the comments or whatever. What makes a good interview as opposed to a crap one?
mm,
What makes a good interview?
ah, I mean, it does help to have good questions asked by the interviewer, but
Uh-huh.
the interviewee has to also be knowledgeable, credible, entertaining, high energy, um, and I feel smarter at the end of it, or I've
Well,
laughed my ass off, and you know that's entertaining. That's fun too.
um, wow. I couldn't even keep up with that. We're gonna have to get that transcribed because isn't it funny that you intrinsically know what makes a good one? Somebody said in the comments, somebody said energy.
Yep.
But you knowledgeable, entertaining, empowering was what I got. You know,
Yep.
empowering, educational,
Yep.
energy.
Yeah.
Actually give the information promoted to invite people to the interview. Yeah, that's a good one. That's actually really good. Different points of view, deliver on promises. I think also you got a good balance of stories, what to and how to info. Um, you know, let's see what else we got. Questions are relevant to what the audience wants to know. I like that. The host and guest sharing their specific perspectives with insight and depth that far exceeds what one can get or learn from a quick Google search. That's good.
Yeah.
I will put that in quotes. Good stuff. No, I mean that's
Yeah.
yeah. I like that. Um, yeah, I think also it's
I think hot topics. Hot topics.
not overwhelming. Hot topics. I think could hot topics also be current and relevant?
Sure.
Yeah. Um, what about stories? What about sharing like relevant stories and stuff? Useful, relevant, fun stories?
Yeah. Hero journey type stories.
Sure. Yeah. Hero's Journey, Six Seas. Anything else, anybody? Those are great, by the way. Those are good ones. Susan, you got anything to add?
That's good. There's a
No?
lot of
Okay. Yeah,
things.
that's this is really good stuff. And isn't it funny that we know what a good interview is? Because if I asked you, okay, now let's just for grins, what the heck? We are going to do a cool but this is a good crowdstorming, brainstorming thing. What makes a bad interview? How do you know when an interview is bad? Okay, I'll start a little.
Yeah.
A bad interview is all about the interviewee ego.
Mm.
Um, take forever to answer a question. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh, tangents. Oh shit, we're getting into my problems. Uh, low energy, not relatable, irrelevant
Very,
stories.
very distracting language, like filler
Dis-
words.
yeah, distracting language. Um, yeah, filler, and then techno jargon. Don't know what the hell you're talking about. Um, not a, not good chemistry with the interviewer.
Bad sound quality. I'll
Yeah,
shut it off if it's like vibrating in the background or
yeah.
like my mic was too close to my mouth earlier.
Um, oh, here we go. Uh, useful, relevant, hero's journey, stories. Okay, so now we're getting it. Comes off as egotistical, feels like a pitch, plays the political answer game, only pitch, ego trip, no energy, speaking about different topics than what was advertised,
Mm.
never getting to the point as they wander around blathering about nothing. Ooh, Isn't that interesting? And and yet, okay, and since we're here and since we have people here live, um, would you rather have an interview or a webinar? Just out of curious. So all I want you to do in the comments is say interview or say webinar. If you had your druthers to between an interview or a webinar, which one would you rather consume? I'm just curious. And then I'm going to
Interview for
ask a
me.
second question. Yeah, I'd rather consume an interview as well. I mean, look at what you watch on TV tonight at night. I mean, a lot or podcasts or interviews and stuff like that. And then my second question is as Susan says interview can do it while running, coding, etc., spelling. um which would you rather in your business, which would you rather do to do a promotion? Would you rather put together a webinar and try and deliver the perfect webinar, or would you rather just have a really good interview and be able to do that? Um, so, and I'm not trying to lead anybody to anything. Vicky says interview, Paul says interview, Brad says depends on what I want, expect to get out my investment of time. That's good. Cheryl says interview. Now, here's the one drawback of an interview from the standpoint of, and Ann says interview as well, from the standpoint of teaching people how to do something step by step, an interview is normally the worst way of doing it because it's really hard to drag step by steps information out of somebody. You're not going to teach somebody how to build a website by doing an interview. You're not going to teach somebody how to do combat swimmer stroke by doing an interview. Okay. You're not going to teach somebody how to make the best chicken soup in the world by doing an interview. They have their places. So an interview is not the place to give how to extended step-by-step how-to information. And the
Good
purpose of
point.
an interview is to raise people's awareness. It's to convey why to and what to information with a smattering of how to. It's about making people aware of resources and possibilities and results that they can get, but not necessarily the step-by-step process of how to do it. You can give people the steps in a process in an interview, but you are rarely going to walk them through the process in an interview. Okay, so it's just understanding. But from a sales perspective, what to and why to is what you got to get across. You give them the what to and the why to, and you sell them the how to. You sell them the tool. So anyway, and most people are saying, it says interview. Ann says she'd rather do a webinar to keep her on track.
Hmm.
Um, Brad says interviews appear to be much easier to create and produce. And they are once you know basic stuff. So one of the things as we go back to our trip down 25 years of memory lane,
Hmm.
selling mini site creator, I just did an interview. I had somebody interview me about the product, why we created it, um, how it was put together, what it taught, why it worked, what was important, all that stuff. Buddy of mine, Jeanette Cates, interviewed me, hardly any preparation whatsoever. That interview sold the crap out of it. In fact, so much so that I put a squeeze page on the front of Mini Site Creator, and the only way, all we promoted on the front end was, hey, get this interview. And then on the next page, we made the offer. And that was the way we did it for years. It was the only way you could do it was you had to get the interview. And so what I'm telling y'all is that just like when you think about, okay, how do you get traffic to your website? Somehow over the last few years, there is, oh, you got to run Facebook ads, even though there's a whole gajillion other ways to get traffic to your website. When you ask people, hey, how do you sell your thing? You're either going to sell it with a sales letter or you're going to sell it with a webinar. Got to put together a webinar. Got to put together a webinar. Got to put together a webinar. Got to be this. Got to do your 3 secrets. Got to sweep out the thing. Do the false beliefs. Do the big offer stack. Do you? I don't think you necessarily do. So how do you do an interview, Stu?
You know what? I do interview two ways, and I do one with a person that is on my show, like we are doing right now,
Mhm.
conversing back and forth. Usually, I will pick someone to interview that has a specialty that is in my realm of business. So, for instance,
Okay.
I focus on fitness. I want to talk to a nutritionist about food choices for fuel.
Okay. So
Yeah.
hang on. What was the first thing you said? You said you. The second thing you said was that
I ha-
they've got a related topic. They're a related topic expert. What was the first one though?
well, it's just I have two ways to do interviews. One was a person face to face. We're kicking back and forth questions and answers, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then usually about a topic that is tangential to my uh, business model that my avatar will be able to readily consume and get smarter on. And
Okay.
that's really what I'm doing. I'm trying to get smarter on nutrition when I'm not a nutritionist.
Okay.
But nutrition is a big part of fitness,
Okay.
right? The
So
second one, and let me just go real quick here just so I
okay.
don't lose it. The
Okay.
second way I do interviews is
Hmm.
I let live people on the webinar ask me questions. So
Okay.
I do live Q&As all the time, 2 a week, um, multiple platforms using StreamYard like you do, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and get a pretty big listener group asking questions. Sometimes I can't keep up with them all, but it's fun and it's a good way to show people that you are the expert,
Sure. Well, I
right?
mean, yeah, I love, let the audience ask questions.
Yeah,
Um, and you do those a couple times a week?
yeah, twice a week.
Wow. Okay.
Yep,
Excellent.
for about an hour each time.
So twice a week for an hour each time. And then
Yep,
you pitch at the end?
yep.
Okay. And do you know what you're going to pitch at the end, or do
I
you let the
pitch
questions kind
throughout
of Okay.
because if somebody asks me, "Hey, how do I get my fitness test better?" I say, "Take a look at this. This is going to do it for you," right? And and then explain why.
And
So
then, and by the way, if you've let it go and you have a PT test coming up in the next 3 weeks, I do have the PT test survival guide that'll help you
that is
be able
right.
to pass the test and then
Yeah.
unscrew yourself and not have to go through that again.
And then I
Um,
tag all the products in that video, so now they pop up as as a click. You go right to the store. So
nice.
yes,
So let's talk about how you choose the person and kind of what the criteria would be. And I'm asking Stu this, but I'm asking y'all this too. Um, yes, Brad, you need to do that. Uh, and you answered Ann's question, but what makes a great guest? Let's brainstorm that for a second. What makes a great guest?
I'm.
As far as choosing somebody.
You'll love this answer, Jim.
Uh-huh.
Someone who has a book.
Yep. Author of a book,
Yep.
because that makes them an expert. Hey, I have the author of the, whatever showing up. So they're a related topic expert. They're the author of a book. To me, they're going to help my people get better.
Yes.
They're going to add value to my world. That's all I care about. I mean, yes, if they're going to pay me an affiliate commission if we sell something, great. But the number one thing is, by putting this person in front of my audience, are they going to make my people better? Help them in some way that's going to assist them in doing whatever we're doing. That's my
Yep.
number one. The money takes care of itself. What would be some other things? What would be some other things that make somebody a great guest or a credible guest or would make you want to reach out to them?
Maybe
Um,
a popular social media personality.
okay.
High number of followers. That's never hurts.
How about I've seen them do great interviews.
Ah, yeah.
You know what you're going to get. That's the thing. I mean, you interviews, sure, they could be an author, sure, they can be an expert, sure, they could be willing to jump on and do the interview, but if I've never seen them do a great interview, it's like,
That's a
it's
really
a
good idea.
crapshoot.
If you're looking to find people, watch somebody else's interview that does a podcast and then call that guy up. Hey, would you like to do another podcast? That was a
Right.
great interview over on so and so. I've also gone to LinkedIn and found great podcast guests as well.
You you did that for a while. Are you still doing it?
Yep.
Like you found that I've listened to you do that one lady who was like she was a badass talking about everything. She
Oh,
was
yes.
running in 100-degree heat and was beating people up and just she was cool.
Yeah, all types. Doctors. They've written books as well. All topics. But
And said
yes,
energetic and enthusiastic about life and their topic. Absolutely. You want somebody who's got an infectious level of enthusiasm.
yeah.
Not only because people are going to engage, but also because it'll probably help with sales. It's,
Mhm.
the guy who talks in monotone, eh, that's not really that exciting. So, um, okay. So I wrote 6 up here. Let's push. What would be one? I mean, we could do energy and enthusiasm, uh, and we'll add that. Okay. So how can the genies help us with doing the interview? Well, there's really 2 ways that the genies can help us immediately with an interview. Do you want to know what they are, Stu?
Of course.
I do too. Please tell me. No, I'm just playing. Um, with the interview itself and with the promo copy to actually get people onto the interview, you
Oh,
know?
okay. All right.
So let's jump over here and we'll look at a couple of these real quick. So it's demo time. Paul says they should be inspirational too. They should
Absolutely.
inspire. I like that. Energy, enthusiasm, inspirational. Yes. And a lot of that will come back to the story. Their story is going to be a big draw. Um, okay, I like it. So let's run over here and there's a couple things I want to share with y'all. That being the interview podcast genie. So I mean, I put podcast in it because there was, do you have something for a podcast? Yeah, it's the interview genie / with podcast in it. So, oh look, it's pre-populated. So what's the name of the expert you'll be interviewing? Stu Smith. What's their number one area of expertise? Crushing your fitness test. Aspiring special operations candidates. Immediate result, they want to crush fitness test. Huge problem, get rid of physical weaknesses. What's your objective? Drive traffic to StuSmithFitness.com. What do we want the audience to do at the end of the interview? Visit Stu's website. What's our interview style? We'll do BuzzFeed.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think I've ever used that one. I
what
wonder
is
what
the
this
angle? It
what
gets
this
kind
will
of
be.
smarty pantsy,
Oh, okay.
honestly.
All right.
How to, we'll do medium and we'll do beginner. Okay. We
All
got a
right.
bunch of different things, angle. So we're going to click build and then it's going to come out with, based on the length, we said medium, it's going to probably do, 10 questions or so. And then it'll also come up with hooks for the interview too.
Oh,
So Hey Stu, let's kick things off. What are the top three tips you'd give somebody who feels like they're struggling with their fitness test prep? Boom. We just hit right into it, dude.
Oh, I love that.
So many aspiring candidates focus on strength training. How important is endurance, like swimming and running, in the overall spec ops fitness test
Very,
pipeline? Okay, Stu, can you
very,
please
very.
elaborate a little bit? But you see how, I mean, it's like, oh crap. I mean, if you were in that thing, it'd be like, oh crap.
Oh yeah.
Can you walk us through a sample workout that targets running and swimming
Hmm,
for somebody with limited experience? That's pretty good. You know,
it's
strength
great.
matters, but how do you recommend they balance building muscle with improving cardiovascular fitness? What are common mistakes that you see people making when preparing for a fitness test, especially regarding swimming?
Mm.
How can someone with a busy schedule fit effective training sessions into their week without feeling overwhelmed? We all have weaknesses. What's your best advice for turning a specific physical weakness into a strength? Explain the significance of nutrition and recovery. For those who feel discouraged, how can they stay motivated? And where can our listeners find more resources and personalized training plans to help them? That's a
Jim,
good little interview, dude.
I love that. Send it to me because I'm gonna make. I'm gonna do something a little different with it. One, if I ever need a question, like when I'm doing a live Q&A and no questions have populated up, I can always fall back onto one of these top 10 and discuss it a little bit while more questions come in. Great idea. But I think what I may wind up doing is doing a special little webinar, just me talking, and these are the top 10 questions I get asked every year.
Okay.
And just boom, just go right through that and, probably have a 45-minute show and then the last one be, explaining, every one I could show example of, here, try this.
Exactly.
Here, try this. Yeah.
So here's the other thing that you've got here. Each one of these could be turned into a blog post
Oh, easy. Ask Stu
and
article.
right, an Ask Stu article, and it's just you then you could throw in a story.
Oh,
This
it's just
this gets you started
it's
to actually
unlimited.
do a great interview. And the thing is, the other thing about an interview is that, remember I said, an interview is not a great way to give how-to information. You can give
Mm.
enough information that people get excited, but people know intrinsically, hey, I need to learn how to do this. Let me go see what the guy's got. They don't feel cheated as long as it stays on topic so that they can, deliver on the promise of the interview, but you're also not it people realize the dude can't teach me how to do the combat swimmer stroke on an interview, but he can explain why it's important, the mistakes that people make, and how to improve it. And by the way, I've got a whole series of videos, and we'll even critique your side stroke if you send me the video. I do that on TikTok all the time.
Yeah.
Well, crap, I
I
need to go check this dude out.
you know what I do, Jim, now? I'm
What's that?
actually critiquing videos on my live Q&A of how
Nice.
to do the CSS
Okay.
properly. So you can actually do it with an interview. But, it's just another layer that, to actually, show some techniques.
So the point though is
Yeah.
that you by using that tool, you have you have what you need to get the thing rolling on down the trail. Now, let's talk about how else could the genie. So we got our stuff. Somebody asked, should we share the questions with the people ahead of time? I'm going to give you a couple of really quick tips, and then I'm going to demo another genie for you real quick. But here's the thing. One of the things that you want to do in an interview is, one of the biggest mistakes you can make in an interview is just to ask questions. And so what you want to do is alternate between asking a question and then telling them what you want. So I'll give you an example. When if I'm always like, well, Stu, tell me what to do this, or Stu, tell me what to do this, or Stu, tell me, it makes you look, even if you're not it makes you look like you're in a lesser position. I know we're taking the place of the student and I'm serving as a proxy for the audience, but you also still have to have some authority. So this is an insider little tip. This is the kind of stuff y'all should have to pay for. Um, just saying. So like on this question where it's like, can you walk us through a sample workout that targets both running and swimming for someone with limited experience in those areas? What you want to do is alternate. So I might, instead of asking that question, I might say, hey, Stu, give us a rundown on a sample workout that's going to help us build up strength in both swimming and running. Can you lay that out for us? Or lay that out for us, please. And now all of a sudden it's like, it's not me like, oh, please, sir, may I have some more porridge? It's, hey, we're burning through this, Hey, what are your top 3 tips for doing this, Stu?
No,
And
I
it's
love
a,
that. Another great way too, Jim, is say, here's something I've always done. What do you think of this?
right,
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. Yeah. This is, or this is what a lot of people think.
Right.
Can you comment on that?
Yeah.
That's those are different things just from doing it, but that's just one little thing. But now we've got our interview, right? So we come over here and we're going to use in this case, we'll use the lead magnet opt-in page, Genie. And so this is basically what's this for? This is going to be for you know what? I'm going to do something. I don't, yeah, podcast episode. That's what we want to do.
Hmm.
What's the title of this?
Top 10 questions asked of Stu.
Uh,
No, I'm just teasing.
so
That's what I'm gonna use it for.
yeah. So let's do and I'm not 100% happy with those actually. Um, so I would probably work on those. So I'm going in and playing. I would change the thing. Um, fitness prep. Okay, so unlock your potential. Stu Stips. I'm going to change this around a little bit. So the title of this is going to be Unlock Your Potential, Stu Smith's Top Spec Ops Training Tips. Okay. For selection test prep. So now, avatar, let's load. I don't want to make sure I don't move that. So we're going to load Stu's avatar. And crushing your fitness test, immediate result. Primary motivation trigger is we're going to do that. We'll do DI and we'll do Jim Edwards. So now we're going to have it write the opt-in copy for the page that we would use to promote the interview. And you're like, but wait, Jim, it's a sales thing. Don't matter. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, well, you can see, let me zoom in on that. Attention special aspiring spec ops candidates ready to crush your fitness test, crush your spec ops fitness test and skyrocket. I would change that. Let me download. In fact, I'm going to change this around. What would be another primary motivation trigger for them? Escape mental pain, avoid effort, save time. Let's do save time.
Save time, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that
Not
one.
waste time.
Yeah. So I'll start at the bottom. And you're like, well, Jim, what do I do if it sucks? And run it again. All right, here we go. So, ooh, look at that. Aspiring
Oh man,
psychologists unleash your fitness. Discover the ultimate shortcut to crushing your fitness test and saving time. Discover the ultimate solution to crush your fitness test with unlike. So I would do a little edit on that, but unlike time saving, switch it's acing your fitness test, transfer will make most of your precious time, streamline your separation.
oh
So this is, I'd say this is 90% done.
yeah, that's nice. I
Um,
like the setup.
right. So now again, with I've got you 90 yards down the field. You're just going to bull your way 10
That's
yards
it.
to get across. And that's, again,
No,
I need to get out of, I'm getting into editing mode. I'll edit this thing real quick and make it amazing.
no, no. That'd take 5 minutes to fix.
So for everybody who's like, oh crap, I can't do an interview. Yeah, I'd like, I can't do a webinar, then do an interview. Well, I can't do an interview. Well, yeah, you can. To do an interview, you just need to know who your target audience is, what their biggest problem is, the questions that need to get answered to help them feel like they've made some progress. By making that progress, explaining the what to and the why to, it's going to make them want the how to. Hopefully you're selling the how to. And if you don't already have a product that sells the how to, then you can, but you know the how to, then you just sell them some of your time as a coaching offer on the back end, and then you put together a real simple opt-in page, which is in effect all it is an opt-in page that conveys the big promise, some
Mm.
supporting bullets, and then a call to action to either sign up to attend the interview live or to click the button to go watch the interview if you've already got it available somewhere. I mean, literally, this is something that could be set up and done in a day.
Oh yeah, easy.
So it's kind of cool.
I
And
love it.
again, and we got other tools that'll help you do other stuff and other things. But I mean, the gist of it is, man, that's pretty straightforward stuff. And I did save that for you, by the way, Stu.
I appreciate it because I'm gonna do some cool things with it, and I'll share with you next week
Awesome.
what I've
So
done.
excellent, excellent, excellent. So I think that's pretty much it for the show, Stu. If people aren't members of copyandcontent.ai yet, what should they do and why should they do it, Stu?
Well, they should go to copyandcontent.ai and sign up, be a member, join, and you get all kinds of cool stuff, like what we're gonna do next.
And next, in the next 10 minutes, for those of you that are elite members of Copy and Content, we are going to do our Genie hacking, where we are going to share how Stu has been using the rewrite, recycle, and repurpose Genie over the last couple 3 weeks to just crush his content creation, replenish, and also I've added some stuff to it that you're not even aware of. Was that a cat or a dog or what was that? Um, and we've done some really cool stuff to that. So anyway, hopefully if you're a member, you'll be joining us live for that next. And if you're not a member, you should be. Head on over to copyandcontent.ai. Join us before the price goes up. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.